Last college women's basketball season, Samaria, Caitlin Clark had the sport by the throat. Iowa women's basketball was must-see TV, and if they were in a town, it was packed out in that arena, okay? The fan investment into Caitlin followed her to the WNBA, and viewership numbers for her games were sky high. Her mere presence alone helped several teams break attendance records, and in some instances, teams chose to actually move games to larger venues to accommodate the fanfare of Caitlin coming to town.
Geno Auriemma is enraged. Stands at UConn games are empty as the name of Caitlin Clark echoes. Even after graduating, Geno performed in crowded arenas around the nation. But this tale isn't just about the numbers. It's about a choice he made years ago that may now be his greatest regret in decades. Geno Auriemma was unbeatable, or let's say his UConn teams were the best in women's basketball. But lately there have been signs of a decline in attendance, with some games drawing fewer than 6,000 spectators.
Yesterday, in a game in the Bahamas, UConn played for 567 people.
Conversely, even without Clark on the court, the Hawkeyes maintain their hold on the fan base with an average of 15,000 live spectators every game.
Needle mover. The biggest draw in American sports today, CC22, Caitlin Clark Kent. That's just the truth.
Additionally, there is Caitlin Clark, the player Geno questioned, disregarded, and ignored, whose ascent has been nothing short of historic. Her influence has left fans wondering if Geno's error cost him more than he is prepared to acknowledge, how she went from being shunned by UConn to redefining the future of women's basketball, and how Geno responded when his team attracted fewer than 600 fans. Let us dissect it.
Two things happen. One, they fall in love with all my players because of the way they play and the way they conduct themselves. And they go, yeah, he really is a shithead.
They say, yeah, he really is a shad talk numbers, after falling in love with all of my players due to their performance and demeanor. For years, the Huskies were more than just a basketball program. They were an institution, drawing fans from all over to watch players like Diana Taurasi-Sabir, Maya Moore, and Brianna Stewart dominate the court. Sellouts weren't just common. They were expected, but today's story couldn't be more different. UConn basketball has long been associated with packed arenas and electrifying crowds.
Paige Bueckers goes to the Bahamas, 500 people. And repeat, 500. 500 people. They are playing in what looks to be, you can see there's a stage. Oh my God, they're not even playing on a in a basketball gym. They're literally playing in what looks to be an auditorium.
UConn performed in the Bahamas just yesterday in front of barely 567 fans. Yes, you read correctly, 567 for a program with as much prestige as UConn is nearly unimaginable. Before you suggest that this drop wasn't an isolated instance, consider that it happened in the Bahamas. In contrast, Iowa tells a completely different picture. The Huskies' home games, which previously had a near-cult following, now draw an average of 4,000 to 6,000 fans per game, a sharp fall from the days when they would frequently sell out. This season, the Hawkeyes are drawing an incredible 15,000 spectators every game, more than doubling UConn's previous attendance records, even without Caitlin Clark playing. This is more than just devotion. It's a testament to Clark's enduring influence, which turned Iowa into a must-see show and established an involvement culture that lasted long after she left.
Of the week, doing all that talking online, but when it comes to the proof, it is in the pudding. When it comes to the numbers, when it comes to the black and the white, are you in the black or are you in the red? Are you showing up or are you bluffing?
The team's recent struggles to dominate women's basketball have been blamed by some for the decline in attendance, while others point to an evolving fan base that craves excitement, star power, and the kind of jaw-dropping plays that players like Clark bring to the table. However, there is another side to this story that many fans can't help but wonder. Did Geno's own decisions both on and off the court play a role in UConn's fall? After all, Caitlin Clark, the athlete who could have brought enthusiasm and vitality back to UConn's program, never received an offer from the renowned coach.
The reality of the situation, it really hits when you see they're like, oh, the fans need to spend more money. The reality is fans need to spend money the way they want to spend money. If a fan wants to see a player, they can see a player. Like, it's not the fault of a fan of Juju Watkins who doesn't want to pay to see her play. It's not the fault of a fan of Paige Bueckers who doesn't want to pay to see her play. Just because fans of Caitlin Clark will pay to see her play. Like, that's the reality situation. Is it's nothing to, there's never blame the consumer or the viewer for what they.
For years, Geno Auriemma was an unrivaled genius whose choices were rarely questioned, but ignoring Clark may turn out to be one of his most crucial errors. The player, who wasn't considered UConn material, went on to captivate the basketball world, leaving UConn fans wondering what if? In order to fully comprehend how this all came to pass, we must delve deeper into the tale of Caitlin Clark's ascent and the choice that Geno may regret the most.
Geno Auriemma. Caitlin Clark again. The world turns. It's Caitlin Clark's world. We just live on planet Caitlin. Geno, baby, if Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team. It's the right team if Michael Jordan is on the roster.
Let's go back to the beginning of this tale. In addition to being a standout high school player, Caitlin Clark was a phenomenon as a recruit. Her talent was indisputable. She was a guard with amazing vision, deep range, and an aggressive scoring mindset. She was the type of player a coach would love to build a program around. She had offers from prestigious universities around the country, including Notre Dame, Oregon, Texas, and Iowa. Almost everyone recognized her ability, but UConn was conspicuously absent from her list of suitors. The coach whose program helped to define women's basketball was Geno Auriemma. After decades of excellence, Clark was not offered a scholarship, shocking both fans and analysts. According to some reports, Geno questioned whether Clark's high-risk, high-reward three-pointers and flashy passes would fit the UConn system. Historically, UConn has prospered on disciplined, team-oriented basketball, and Clark's free-flowing style of play seems like a gamble.
Wants to know, if Caitlin Clark played for Geno, would he let her shoot logo threes?
Should I answer that?
Go ahead.
Hell no.
Okay.
Like, he didn't even let us dribble. Like, not the high passes to the side. We were playing triangle, pass, screen away, pinch post.
I bet we came off five pick and rolls our whole.
Others theorize that Geno merely misjudged her capacity to dominate at the collegiate level for the public reason that he had already hired Paige Bueckers, and that Paige was superior. Whatever the reason, UConn passed on Clark, leaving her to choose between other elite programs. In the end, she chose Iowa, a university that isn't usually associated with the basketball giants. Not only did Clark flourish at Iowa, but she also revolutionized the program. By her sophomore year, she was breaking records, and by her junior year, she had guided the Hawkeyes to the Final Four. However, it wasn't just her numbers. It was her fearless leadership and deep threes that made Iowa a must-watch on television, drawing in viewers who had never been interested in women's basketball before.
Listen, you talk about players that change the game when they're on the court, whether they're touching the ball or not. You have to guard her when she steps into the gym. And so I don't think we've seen anything like that in women's basketball. I've played against a number of great shooters.
Yes.
Somebody that when they walk in the gym, you have to guard them. And I think the way the game is played has allowed her to showcase that skill, to be able to take that shot. That shot's being a good shot. It speaks to where basketball is.
And then came the 2024 NCAA Final Four incident that could still haunt Geno. In a matchup between Clark and Iowa and UConn, several for years, UConn had been the gold standard in women's basketball, but Clark changed that. She not only led Iowa to victory, but she dominated the game, leaving fans with no doubt that she was the best player on the court. Following the game, fans couldn't stop wondering, what if Geno had hired Clark? Would she have brought the same enthusiasm and energy to UConn, revitalizing the program at a time when it sorely needed a spark? For Geno, it wasn't just a lost chance. It was a choice that changed the course of history. The women's basketball story, if you've watched this far and found the video entertaining, please remember to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications. We understand that watching this movie requires some of your time, so thank you, and let's get back to the action.
Like I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable, right?
Geno had a lot to say when Caitlin Clark announced her intention to enter the WNBA draft, and none of it was positive. The legendary coach questioned her physicality and decision-making, dismissing her chances of succeeding in the league, and saying on one talk show that those deep threes and circus shots wouldn't work against tougher, more athletic defenders. Yet Geno wasn't by herself. Detractors portrayed her as a high-risk athlete whose success at college might be overshadowed by the WNBA's quicker and more formidable opponents. Diana Taurasi, one of Geno's most well-known protégés, echoed these worries, saying that Clark might experience a rude awakening in the league. However, Caitlin Clark remained silent, offering no response or social media clapbacks, instead letting her play speak for itself. What a statement she made. Clark didn't just meet expectations during her rookie season with the Indiana Fever. She exceeded them by averaging 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, earning her the title of Rookie of the Year. Clark became the only rookie in WNBA history to record not just one but several triple-doubles, demonstrating her all-around domination. She also led the league in assists and led the Fever to their first postseason participation since 2016.
You never know how quickly they're going to adapt to the WNBA game coming from college. And I think that Caitlin has done surprisingly well, how quickly she's adapted to this game. There's a lot of doubters out there, as we all know, and she has proved them all wrong.
The internet and memes following that, social media was ablaze with posts ridiculing Geno's prior skepticism. One tweet said, "This aged like milk," along with a highlight clip of Clark's deep threes. Another only inquired as to how you were finding the WNBA physicality. Geno, among the most widely shared posts, analysts praised Clark as a generational talent, with some likening her impact to LeBron James' rookie season. WNBA veterans were equally impressed, acknowledging they had never seen anything like her before. Geno's scathing remarks with Clark's celebratory Rookie of the Year photo caption talk, less watch more fans weren't the only ones who noticed. She became not only a celebrity, but also the face of the league's next generation by motivating her teammates and regularly packing arenas. Then the story twist occurred. The same coach who publicly questioned her, Geno Auriemma, started praising her in interviews, calling her a game changer and one of the most amazing athletes we've ever seen. The abrupt change left supporters perplexed.
The college career that Caitlin had ignited a tremendous amount of attention, an incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it certainly changed the landscape, no question.
Geno's attitude toward Caitlin Clark has changed significantly. The coach who once dismissed her as unfit for the WNBA is now one of her loudest supporters. In recent interviews, he has referred to Clark as a game changer, a genius, and even better than Paige Bueckers. But why the change in attitude? Is this a sincere acknowledgement of Clark's talent? Or is there another factor at play here? Let's start by dissecting the chronology. Geno's praise started to pour in soon after Clark's incredible WNBA rookie campaign. Geno ran the risk of alienating fans and damaging his legacy by continuing to criticize Clark, who is not only a fantastic player, but also a cultural figure recognized for attracting new fans to the WNBA and raising its reputation.
I think one of the things that makes Caitlin Clark, who she is the way she is with people. She connects with people, and people connect with her.
However, this is where the situation becomes even more intriguing. The new 3-on-3 basketball league, which was co-founded by celebrities like Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier with the goal of giving WNBA players a lucrative vacation alternative, coincides with Geno's unexpected admiration. Geno is more than just a fan. He is also an investor, and since unmatched depends on star power, who better to open the season than Caitlin Clark, the most marketable name in women's basketball?
There's a lot of investors in this league. One investor, been trying to keep quiet about, his investment in the league ever since his comments that he made about a young rookie. Pretty much, had him in the headlines for about a month and a half. That is Geno Auriemma, dog. I'm here to tell you, he's part owner of this
According to rumors, Unrivaled made a strong effort to sign Clark, promising her a substantial deal that is said to have exceeded $1 million, as well as cryptic clues regarding 22 fans were convinced that Clark would join, but when the roster was revealed, her name was noticeably missing. Geno's decision to decline sent shockwaves through the basketball world, and her decision was more than just a missed opportunity. It was a direct blow to his investment. Without Clark, it would be difficult to attract fans, and Geno's frustration wasn't unnoticed. Sources close to the league described him as visibly upset when Clark's decision became public on social media, and fans quickly connected this with memes that featured Geno's previous criticisms.
She has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Aaliyah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin is doing it, and despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push that was put on her. But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position to make the decision, and it appears that answer is no.
So, why did Clark decline Unrivaled? Insiders claim that she made the decision to simply take a vacation following her record-breaking first season in the WNBA and her relentless senior season at Iowa. In the end, Geno's newfound appreciation for Clark begs more questions than it answers. Is he truly in awe of her talent? Or was this part of a convoluted pitch to recruit her to Unrivaled in any case? Clark put recovery before more basketball. Her rejection wasn't personal, it was practical. However, her absence looms large for Geno and the league. Due to Clark's decision to decline, Geno and Unrivaled are in a difficult situation. Caitlin Clark's path from being ignored by Geno Auriemma to becoming the brightest star in the WNBA is more than simply a basketball tale. It's a masterclass in perseverance, vision, and self-worth. By carving out her own route, Clark has altered the rules of women's basketball.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the FIBA rookie!
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that.
For the F rookie, this point will continue to be me, and I believe a lot of good will come from that. For Geno, the story is more complex. His decision to forego recruiting Clark may go down as one of the biggest missed opportunities in college basketball history. His public criticism of her only served to fuel the narrative, making him seem like a doubter at a time when Clark was establishing herself as a generational talent. Now that he is praising her, fans are left wondering if his admiration is sincere or if it was a calculated move related to his investment in Unrivaled. Meanwhile, Clark's decision to prioritize rest over the glitz of Unrivaled sends a powerful message. She is in control of her career by setting her boundaries and concentrating on what really matters: her game, her health, and her future. She is demonstrating to athletes everywhere that success isn't always about saying yes to every opportunity. Sometimes it's about having the guts to say no.
Obviously, they've tried to do everything they could to make the most of the situation. They tried to make the most of Caitlin Clark not playing by hinting everything and basically making people think that Caitlin Clark was going to play.
But what does all of this mean for UConn's future? Is it a wake-up call? The league's success depends on finding other stars who can attract the kind of attention that Clark does with ease, and for Geno, it serves as a reminder that even legends are subject to errors and the fallout that follows. As fans, we are left to watch one of the most captivating stories in sports unfold as the program that once defined dominance in women's basketball struggles with declining attendance and the lost opportunity to build around a once-in-a-lifetime player for unmatched. Although Caitlin Clark is just getting started, her impact on and off the court is already changing women's basketball in ways that will last for generations. As for Geno, only time will tell if he can change this narrative. If so, please let us know in the comments by subscribing and turning on all notifications so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.